Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We review anything and everything. And today we're just going to get into a minor rant and comparison between the Speed Champion Lego Speed Champion cars that I have, um, and just a little bit of dynamics with the cars themselves. Like I said, it's just going to be a casual rant, so feel free to just sit back and hear me rant and a little bit of comparison. So I just did a video showing. Just looking at some of the, it's funny how these things get very scratchy so easy. But I just did a review and unboxing of this. This is the Ford Mustang Dark Horse. It's brand new to the collection. And the previous ones that I had was the Ferrari Superfast 812 Competizione. That's how they say it. I'm going to have the link in the description for all these cars. And this right here is the Lamborghini Countach. And first, I want to say one thing that I noticed that is interesting is obviously they've evolved the base framing. Now, even though this is also the 8 stud wide framing, it's different than the 8 stud wide framing that came out for this one. So that was updated. And I don't know if I noticed that the first time around, but it's definitely different. And I think it was to, I don't know if it's to give a lower profile or what the benefit was from it. And obviously this one keeps the same design that was on this one. Now, the only difference is this one puts these little side rocker panels on that I had to attach, but it definitely gives a more cleaner look underneath. So that part is interesting, that, that chose to have that that detail. Now, I don't think that this one, the Mustang, would have had that also if it wasn't for the fact that the way it indents inwards here. Let me get a little bit extra lighting. Okay. So the way it indents inwards here, you can see that if this was empty, you can see how that would look, and it just wouldn't look right, and let's see. So yeah, this one has these just two parts protruding here. And this one, you build these things outwards. Being that the build is already built, I can't really tell you how or where that's coming from, how the main setup is on it, but you could see that this kind of needs this, otherwise it would feel very empty if you had it like that. So that's why you put that panel on it like that. Okay. And so there's that. Here, the rims. Now, most of the time when they give you the rims, they give you those two options, generally speaking. And it's funny because those two options, for the most part, fit almost any style that you might come across when it comes to wheel options. And I wasn't sure when I was doing the video of the Mustang if this had the brake disc inside, but they actually do. So that's cool. Now, though these ones both come with two sets of rims, this one doesn't. And I mentioned in the review video of the Dark Horse, the Mustang, that something like this, which is iconic with its rim setup from back in the days, it wasn't going to have two options because you would have never seen it with two options. But the positive, even though it only comes with one option, is that while these have two options, this is specifically for this car. So these options here usually go for like all cars will have these same two options. While this one, even though it only has one option, is specifically this. So it's customized for this car. So that part's very interesting. And then these two right here have printed decals on the hood slash windshield. And then this one doesn't, because it's all glass. With this part you just build on top of the roof. So I guess if certain cars need that or require it, or stripes or whatever, then that's what you need. If other ones don't, then you can get away with just doing a roof like that. So it's a lot more simple. You don't have to worry about, say, less wear to the design on this one. Obviously you still always have to worry about those hairline scratches, but then also too, as I look at this windshield is a lot more boxy, actually. And these ones, actually, I'm just noticing this for the first time. And this one, which I think utilizes the same piece, just different decaling on it. I'm gonna compare. It almost feels like this one's smaller, but I know it's not. I'm sure they're the same. And so you could see here, this one has a lot more dimension to it, but it also curves in more, because you can see the side angles curving in. This one doesn't have that. It goes straight up and down. Now, the reason why that means something is because, as I had mentioned in a previous, in the previous video I reviewed the Mustang, that the driver can have their hair on and not their racing helmet and still fit in the car. And these ones, if you have them with the hair on, this is a good example right here. So he has his hair piece on, and you can see it's close, but it's just a little off from being completely flush because the hair is too high. But now I realize, now, because of the way the windshields are, as they curve and taper inwards, creates that dynamic of, where they can't without the racing helmet on fit into the car completely and have the roof on flush. Now, what I realize is this. Sorry about that. What I realize also is that these cars, being that they're a little more higher end sporty cars, back in the days, I know this one right here probably is something of $300,000-$400,000 in current day prices, somewhere within that range. And this one, when it first came out, probably would have been the equivalent in whatever, the value of the dollar was, adjusting for inflation, would have been at that time. But my point to that is that, being that they're a little bit more exotic, they may have had it where their actual, roof and window framing slanted like that, where the Mustang, probably like most typical cars, just go straight up and down on the window framing, coming down like that. Because most cars actually they don't have that angle on the side windows. They just go up and down, where maybe some fancy sports cars are a little more angled. I really don't know. I can't say, because I've never driven in any kind of car like that, or been in any kind of car like that. So I don't know, but I'm going to guess that is a factor. Or they could just be saying this was the old way of doing it and this is going to be the new way of doing it. That I don't know. But we'll see in, I guess, future releases. And I'm going to take a look at the interior of all of them in that comparison. Because I did mention before about how this one right here looks pretty detailed as well. So in a previous video, yeah, so you definitely have a lot going in here. This right here could be, I'm not really too sure, to be honest, if these would be considered the vents, or if they would be considered, like a kind of dash type of tachometer, or whatever the case is. But they're probably the vents. So you see how you have that really kind of advanced gear stick. It looks like it probably uses one of those kind of like little clicker kind of devices, not the actual stick. But that's cool. This is your glove compartment side, which is nice the way they did that. So I definitely like the interior of this, but that right there with the seats, I think look really nice here. You have that cushion back, and then the little symbol for the, I'm sorry if it's out of focus. I'm sitting here looking at off camera. You have the headrest there. I think that part looks really nice. Now, the Mustang also has very nice seats. Don't mind their little stuff inside the other seat. Really nice seats that look enhanced, if you would say, for lack of a better word. The interior too. I went over this in the review, how they have a screen. So there, it's not a sticker, because that was actually, is that a sticker? I don't even remember now if that was a sticker or a print. I believe this was a print. That one's a sticker, but I believe that one's a print. Give me a second. Okay, yes, that's a sticker. I guess when I was doing the build, I was tired, and I guess I did such a good job at putting it on that it finally aligned. Because most of my stickers are never directly on point, or they're a little off, and you can tell that they're obviously stickers. So that's a sticker, but that gives you a full console setup, which I think is kind of nice. That you get so much from the sticker in this case rather than very little. Let me see if I can zoom in on that a little better. You get a lot in the form of that sticker. Because essentially what you're getting is the screen, the touch screen. You're getting the vents, the controls on the bottom. So that's nice. And I'm actually going to do a close up of that gear shift on the Ferrari in a moment. I didn't zoom in it a moment ago, so I'm going to do that in a moment. But you see, he's got the little stick shift there. Well, she's got the stick shift there. Let me just show you this thing when I zoom in, so you can see how that looks. It goes kind of deep inside there, but you got this little like electronic, however that would look. I mean, you could Google how the real thing looks, but you could tell it's one of those kind of advanced little setups there for that. And then the Lamborghini is using a standard gear shift, stick shift. Now, what's interesting is that just has this piece. So they have that whole kind of 2-spot thing, but they have the whole cone that comes down. Well, not cone, but slope that comes down. But I was mentioning in the review of the Mustang how this one leaves that spot empty. And what's interesting about that is that you could then use that as a cup holder. If you wanted to maybe squeeze a mug in there, you might be able to squeeze a mug. I don't know if you could or not, but if you could have maybe squeezed a mug there and it'll make it feel like a cup holder. I thought that would be funny if somebody did that. You could tell the inside of this is very much from the 80s or whatever, because they did have a red interior in these cars back at that time. They did less focus on the details of the console. So, and then I don't know if this also comes due to the way that the framing was. I told you the bottom frames are different, or just the way they built it up. But the other cars, and we aren't really going to be able to see it well from here, but these other cars have more of like a wide console setup. This one limits it with these slopes here, these 2 red slopes. So now it's like you have the steering wheel is a little more. Let me see if it's in the same position or not. Yeah, it definitely feels like the steering wheel. Yes, they center the steering wheel more, at least in the Mustang, and I believe also in the Ferrari. Actually, the Ferrari is a little less centered and more to the left, but then the Lamborghini is a little more to the right. You could tell by the easy way to see exactly, because sometimes it's a little hard to see, is look where their hands are placed. So in the Lamborghini, his right hand is closer to the steering wheel more than left. In the Ferrari, his left hand's closer than his right. And then you could see in the Mustang how they centered it. Both hands are equal distance from the steering wheel. So that's definitely a really nice improvement. It's not a big deal with these cars, because I know that the interior is not the most important, that the steering wheel is not on point, but just the fact that they actually gave to that detail. Now, keep in mind, if I'm not mistaken, both of these cars fall below the 300 piece point, and they might be close, but I think one is like 290 something. The other one's a little bit less. I think the Ferrari is the one that's a little bit more, but the Mustang goes into 344 pieces. I just did the review and I have the box in front of me, so that's why I can see that. These I can't confirm at the moment, but I know that they're in that range. But being a few pieces less, that means that this one can do little extra details like that, where they probably just overlooked it here, where one additional piece would have made that difference, but they probably figured that, it's not such a big deal. Then also too, you would have had to accommodate the fact that you don't want the steering wheel to get raised too high, so you couldn't just put another piece to center it. You'd actually have to remove a piece, then put that, so that way it's at the right height that it's supposed to be. And then this one, steering wheel and the whole setup, is actually below the line of the dash, where this one is above the line of the dash. So you could see there's those elements. Now, like I said, I don't know if that just caters to the design of the car, or if that's an element of the fact that different building techniques. But like what I was mentioning here before I kind of left on a tangent is these slopes here kind of make this center console squeeze in a lot more. As far as design goes, I think all of them look really nice. I'm going to put their hoods back on. And I'm going to take his hair off because I'm going to put his helmet on, so that way the ceiling can sit flush. And like I mentioned before in my previous videos, that I always tend to put whatever other things that they have on them, like their extra hair piece or their wrench, in the passenger seat, just so you don't lose them. And now this sits. Well, that's as flush as going to sit. It's pretty flush. I don't know if his head is hitting it. I can't fully tell, because sometimes the way you sit him down also plays a factor. And I don't know if I got all his legs down in the best position, but flush enough. And then we're going to throw this on top of here. And there we go. So I can say the stickers on the Mustang wasn't that bad. There really wasn't that many. The Ferrari was way too many stickers. It was really a lot of stickers. I like the way that looks with that setup, but they had all these stickers because you had here, those are two separate stickers, and you have here. That is printed, and then you have a sticker here, you have the sticker there. Each of these are two different pieces too. So you have all these broken up elements. These are stickers there. These are stickers there. So you have a lot of stickers in this one. Sticker here on the back and up there too. So on the little spoiler piece, I like the way that was done on this little dynamic here. And the Mustang has something similar, where you could see how that is there with the lights, and how the lights come down here too to form that bend. So that's really nice. But that piece is printed on the Mustang, and I really enjoyed that, because they could have easily gone with stickers and someone could have messed up their entire thing. And I think that's why they didn't do stickers, because it would have been hard for a lot of people to get those two pieces correct, because these two pieces are the same piece done twice. And that's probably why they're able to actually do them printed, because they're the same piece. So you save money. It's not like you're making two separate pieces. They're the same piece. But when this one is facing upside down, that symbol and that little kind of mark right there, that accent mark, is underneath there. So you don't see them. You just see the headlight part. And then that makes it where it creates that kind of curvature, which is actually on the car. And in general, I went with these because this was the classic car growing up, the Lamborghini Countach. This was one of my more favorite modern cars. The original version to this was the F12 Berlinetta. And this is generally about the same design. And then I've always been a fan of Mustangs. Now, the rear exhaust, I love this rear exhaust on this, the way they did it. the little what do you call those again? Shooters, stud shooters. Looks really, really nice. I enjoy the quad tailpipes on this, and I also like that they don't move. So, you know, because these pipes just go into the pieces there, so they don't move. And I'll tell you why I mentioned the fact they don't move is because this one, though it has quad, they can move, and I don't like that. So, generally speaking, you don't have to worry about it. You just put them in the most upright position, and they should be fine. But, you know, obviously you don't want to accidentally have it hit and then they fall. I love what they did with the lights there to give that curvature look on the lights. And like I said, I'm not going to go too deep. I just wanted to really display and just go on a little rant here about all three of these cars. And that's about it, you guys. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.